Hi, guys. It's Marlene of Marlene TV. And of course, you guys know on this channel, we talk about prosperity in your natural hair and in your finances. So today, we're going to go into the finance aspect and we're going to have a conversation with Delightful Dawn. She is a YouTuber and we're going to find out from her about the credit union industry. So I'm very excited to have our guest on the show. First, I'm going to invite her up, and then we are going to let her talk about her channel, and then we'll go from there. So, welcome everybody. I would appreciate if you guys could like it and share the video out on your social media. Thank you so much. So, I'm going to remove this banner here and get started. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Marlene of Marlene TV. And today we have a special guest on the show, Delightful underscore Dawn. And she is a fellow YouTuber. And as you can see from the thumbnail that I made, she's going to talk candidly about the credit union industry. So let's welcome Delightful Dawn to the show. Let me add her right now. Hey,
Hi,
welcome,
I'm
Dawn.
Dawn,
Go
formerly
ahead.
known
Go ahead.
Delightful underscore Dawn. Oh, my channel is, as we know, Delightful underscore Dawn. It is pretty much a lifestyle, vlogging, reestablishing channel. And today I want to talk to you about the credit union industry, giving you my story as well as what is the difference between a credit union and a bank, why I think that you all should all join a credit union, and then that may occur throughout this live. Very much grateful that Marlene graciously.
Yes. Thank you so much for that introduction. So, yes, guys, this is Dawn, and I linked her channel in the comment section here so you guys can go over to her channel. So, Dawn, let's get right into it. The credit union, what is that? Can you start off with that? Tell us about what the credit union is about.
Now, a credit union is basically a non-for-profit financial institution, which the major difference between a credit union and a bank is that a bank is for profit. So, meaning majority shareholders, meaning either you are the stockholder. We don't call our customers that share within the company, like how they want everything to go in a financial institution. And so that's one of the biggest things. They're for the people and not for profit. And so that's one of the main reasons why I kind of got into it. I wasn't really for sure, like starting out. I don't understand like why would you want to go to a credit union. And actually a lot of credit unions start off from small businesses, so meaning my dad, he worked for the city, so they had a credit union only for the city employees. Or you may have someone who works for a teacher and they have a credit union just for the teacher. So initially that's where credit unions started. They started from overseas, from small institutions, and then basically, or a pot of people came together, decided to put their funds lend to the individuals within their companies, and then from there they kind of flourished. And so that's the major difference between a bank and a credit union, is that for the people. So a lot of their memberships are people in the community, people who worship or live or work in that area. And that's what makes them so strong, because they are there for the people. So if you, of course, if you put money in an institution, it's not bad to have it at a bank because they're on a larger scale. So I mean, they can maybe able to help you financially in a larger way if you have a really big business. But if you are an individual who don't have a lot of money or may not have as credit, you would want to go to a credit union. because they're for you. And the more time that you establish membership with them, that we can like ultimately help you in the long run. So I guess it's like a snippet. I don't know if I should keep talking about the credit union.
Yeah,
Okay, she said yes.
continue. You
So
keep telling us, tell us the tea because I know I'm a
so
part
just
of the credit.
as
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'll say it
So
again, Marlene. My
I
my
said
tablet cut off.
yeah, I was saying that a lot of people, like, I know I'm a part of a credit union, but I don't really know what's the difference really between them. It was just like I just joined it. I didn't really know. So are there any difference between like the fees between in banking and in the credit union? Is that any different or is it the same?
So, as far as funding, because it's a larger institution, they have more resources for online banking, more resources for like promotions. The biggest difference for me, the person I've seen, especially someone who grew up from an inner city area, is that a lot of the money that funds do, they give a lot of second chances to individuals who may not have a strong financial background. They provide services to help individuals learn about financial literacy. And so when it comes to like the environment, I have a friend, I invited him on here to come chat. He works for a very large bank, and a lot of times he tells me about how each person is a transaction. And so for a credit union, we see our members as family. So when they come in, we try to establish trying to necessarily gain their money and their business, but we are establishing a relationship so when they can have trust in us, and ultimately, vice versa, because you don't want to go into an institution where they just see you as another dollar sign and not as an individual. And then a lot of the services that they provide are not personal. So meaning, for him, I think he works for Bank of America. They don't provide traditional signature loans to individuals. So, signature loan is basically a personal loan. Each financial institution calls it something different. It's basically unsecured funds, meaning you don't have to put up collateral for. And so
Right.
he was telling me how hard it was for some people who may want a small dollar amount. Some people don't need $20,000, $30,000. Ultimately, they probably can't afford to borrow that amount. But when they need maybe 500, 300, $1,000, it's hard for them to find it at bigger institutions because to them that's not enough money for them to want to borrow out and be able to get the interest back in return on that type of loan.
Right.
And so that's where a lot of credit unions come into place, where they can offer those smaller dollar amounts for individuals who just may need to get some money to get just to the next paycheck, or may just need some funds to help with Christmas. And then we offer lower interest rates for a lot of our members, which when it comes to banks, they offer higher interest rate because they want to get the higher interest and dividends in return versus, credit unions. So our main goal, like we want to get profits. A lot of our profits, it goes right back to our members. So at the end of the year, different institutions, because they're not for profit, they can decide on that amount that they get at the end of the year, extra dividends, to even they can put it towards schools, programs, scholarships. They can give it back to their actual members, which are the customers. So when I say members are you, like the customers, the individual of the bank. So if people get confused with it, members are customers. So our members
Mhm.
are, we treat them, with dignity and respect. So I mean, a lot of the times when you may call in to your bank, you just may be known as just a number. A lot of my members that I deal with, I know them maybe not in person because I work virtually, but I know them over the phone. I know their family. I know what Betty did last week with her money, and she just needs some assistance, and she wants me to talk to her and try to convince her to bring her business over to the credit union. You just kind of develop those relationships with them, and then kind of help guide them financially, even though I'm not certified to be able to give like actual money advisement because I'm not certified yet. I can, from personal experience, I always tell people that just personally, this is what I would suggest, but I would still get someone to sit down with you and go over your finances in detail if you need additional assistance. Because we have individuals, companies that we work with that are either sometimes in the credit union or maybe partnered to assist our members for free up to a certain extent. So So that's where the financial literacy come into play with us, because a lot of the services that we offer are free. And then if there are a certain dollar amount for accounts, they're normally lower than you would have for a traditional bank, only because a lot of the people that we deal with, they may have not had any type of credit. So a lot of times when you go to the bank, they're going to pull your credit and pull what is called check systems. People don't even know what check system is. They think, okay, if my credit
Can
is
you
good,
say
you
that
should just,
again?
allow
What
me
did
to
you
be a
call us? What did you
customer.
say it's called, Don? Shake system?
The it's called check systems. It's
Oh, check
basically
system.
a system that allows it allows financial institutions to basically run, like if they want to run my name, they'll put in Don, my last name, my social security number. It doesn't pull your credit, but it's basically this network that shows any other financial institutions if there's been fraud. If you owe another financial institution, they may have not reported to your credit, but they have alerts out for individuals, whether it's terrorists, they have people like that
Oh,
information on there. So a lot of times, if we find someone that may have a large amount, or like not large, but maybe had a little fraudulent activity, and a bank will count anything as fraud almost. If you have a bad check, they think that you're doing something fraudulent. Maybe someone gave you a bad check, or you got one of those checks in the mail. You get excited, you don't know where it came from. All of a sudden, you want to take it to the bank and not have them hold it, and then you're responsible for that bad money that you may or may not spent, and they'll
right.
report it, showing that you may have had multiple checks or may have had a large amount that came back, either you haven't paid, stuff like that. And so a lot of times we give what is called a second chance. I mean, individuals who may have had issues with traditional banking, will allow them to get a special account for a small fee up to a certain amount of time. Like if you've been there for a couple of years, we've shown that you've used us for direct deposit, you establish some type of relationship with us, we may allow you to get a traditional account without a fee, because now we see that you have, established a relationship with us versus just saying, no, you can't have a bank. And then it's a lot of people that we know in our community, black and brown, who don't have a bank, just a financial institution, just in general. And just not off of them not knowing, or maybe something happened on their credit and they don't feel comfortable. People still believe in putting money in a shoebox or having it on
Yeah,
Cash App. And that is not smart, because your money is not insured on Cash App. So it's cute to like put money back and forth, but honestly, it does. You don't earn any type of dividends. You don't earn relationship. Cash App will not give you a loan, so it's not financially smart to rely on those type of avenues to hold your funds, because when it comes down to getting an actual loan or wanting to establish a business account, no one's going to want to work with you or to allow you to be in an institution if you have no type of relationship with them. And now all of a sudden you've been using Cash App, the younger generation, for 5 years, and you don't
yeah,
have a traditional bank, because a lot of times because of COVID, well, because the big C,
yeah. The
people
big
have
C.
been wanting extra verification, only because it's been so much fraud. I personally, what I do at my credit union, I work with consumer lending. We've had multiple online transactions where people have found individual socials, personal information to try to apply for loans, unsecured, in order to get funds, and they know all of these security questions so far as different type of loans they may have had in the past. Whether that's why check system also, they actually personal questions like, have you ever lived on 25th 2nd Avenue in Detroit? Do you have a cousin that lives in California? It asks like stuff like, some be like, I don't know that information, but it has multiple, like, we don't know. It's just circulate another question, just because of like C, the big C, that they're trying to find ways to decipher who is an actual individual and not someone who's trying to be a fraudster to open up accounts for people. But
Yeah.
I don't know if
I
I
did.
went
I
off on
didn't
a
know. I
tangent.
didn't know anything like
Probably.
that was really occurring. Don. I didn't know that was occurring. That people
Yes,
actually
a
go
lot. A
in.
lot of people. Yes, a lot of people, and that's just, it's bigger only because everything is now so virtual, and you can make fakes, fake IDs, fake what is it, income for people, tax returns. So people, like a lot of institutions, have been really, buckling down on how they verify information just because it's been so much fraud. And so when you go to a credit union, because normally credit unions are based in cities or counties in cities, so every credit union isn't the same. So meaning Marlene has she shared how she just went and opened up an account, but it's not like that don't work. You have to be a part of that either works community, meaning live or worship in the area. You have to either work somewhere in order to be able to go, like, to actually go into that credit union. And
Oh,
I think it's good. I also think it's bad because for individuals who may not have the best credit union in their areas, I mean, they may not offer those spiffy online banking features, but they may have a lower like a lower rate for their customers or members that they're not able to access those same funds. That can be a actual, I guess, a con is because a credit union is normally based in that area. It's not easy accessible if you were to go, like Marlene is in Florida, I'm here in Texas. My credit union most likely won't be in Florida. So if I go out of town, it won't be easy accessible to get my funds only because it's only based in the surrounding county area.
right.
The good thing about credit unions, they have what is called shared branching. I don't know if Marlene ever heard of it. It's basically where you
No.
can go to a different state, and then if that financial institution, so far as a credit union, offered that, they'll allow you to pull out a certain funds from your credit union as long as they participate in that same shared branching. So meaning you can use an ATM without getting a fee. You can pull out funds or deposit a check if you're not like a actual member of that credit union, which is it kind of like helps out with the whole not being easy accessible to the funds, but it can also be a hindrance because you can't like go in there. If you have issues with your account, you can't actually work with that credit union to resolve it. You would have to call your credit union, not unless that credit union is nationally owned. A big credit union that everyone knows, American Airlines. Pretty much almost every other state have American. I don't know if they have that in Florida, Marlene. American Airlines, like the
I've never
actual
seen it
airport.
before.
They do.
They
No,
they have a
you never
credit.
heard
They
of it. Oh,
have American Airlines like at the airport, but I've never seen like in banking. No,
credit union.
no, I've never seen
So
American
American
Airlines. Yeah.
Airlines, and I'm trying to think of it. They're probably one of the largest. Besides the Army has a credit union that because they're based everywhere, they try to put their credit unions in major cities. So I'm not. You probably don't have it there, but it's probably somewhere in Florida where they have like a little branch. We're in the main area where everybody kind of work at, but American
Right.
Airlines, they offer all of their employees an opportunity to open up an account with them in all 50 states. You may not have an actual tangible branch to go to, but the membership is wider because their employees is national. So that's good for them. So they participate in what is called shared branching as well. So their members, a lot of them come. When I used to live in St. Louis, I would see a lot of people who were participated with American Airlines only because they were just so big, and we had a small little section of the airport for them because our big thing in St. Louis was Southwest. Southwest has a credit union, and it's really interesting. A lot
Oh,
of major institutions, they have a credit union for their employees, some way, shape, or form. Or they would offer um, a lot of, even when it's like schools, like colleges, a lot of them partnership with credit unions only because they offer special products for their students or employees there. And so that is what it's called. I'm trying to think of the word. It's called a business partnership. So it's almost like adopting like a school. So you're adopting like these different institutions. And then with credit unions, once they've already established that partnership with that credit union, like it's bad taste as another credit union to try to come in and take their business. So our main thing is that once we find out someone is already with the credit union, is not to graduate them into like, you should come to us. It's like, I'm glad that you are with another institution that's a credit union that's going to have your best interest and not just try to get you to get loans or to get these multitudes of accounts and you don't know, and then help advise you if needed. And if you do get a bad credit union, I would just say, let them be, leave them alone. put your stuff on Yelp and Google, and then keep it pushing, because not every institution is going to be the best, but you want to make sure you do research regarding credit unions. So a lot of things, you want to see what are your needs. So I recently had a friend on Facebook ask, what is the best credit union to go in a particular area? Like, what should I look for? And the first thing that you should think about is, as a person, what is important to you as a consumer? Like, are you big on having online access? Are you big on having the accessibility of branches in front of you? Do you want, so I mean, there's a lot of credit unions that may not be in other states, but they have a lot of branches in that city or that particular state. So if you want the accessibility to go on different sides of the town and to have access to that credit union, then of course you want to find a place that has, 10 or 15 actual institutions that you can go to. If you're big on online banking, you want to do the research. What are they using? They normally do have like pictures, and people have comments on how they like the online banking of institutions. I'm
Right.
real big on online banking. I like stuff to be easy. I don't
Yeah.
want to work too hard to look at information. I want my statements to pop up on my phone. I want to be able to do the digital checks. I want to be able to actually chat with someone, a representative at my credit union. The one that I actually bank with is back in St. Louis. They're pretty big, and even though they're not here, I like that. Even if I'm at work, like, hopefully my boss not watching, I can like type and like try to figure out what's going on if something has debited out my account that I wasn't aware of, or I need to cut something off and I don't have time to actually call. I know that they're pretty quick on, responding to me online. And then it's some places where it takes longer to call because it's such a big institution. If there's an issue, I may be on the phone a little longer. So I know some certain people like different things, whether they have some people are known for having lower interest rates. You want to research that. You have to figure out, what do you want from your financial institution. If you're trying to get a business loan, do they offer those type of loans? Not every credit union is SBA approved, and that's basically when the government first did those small business loans for a lot of individuals. They My credit union person didn't participate, weren't actually available to do it. That's a lot of people call around, ask the questions that you feel like are annoying as a consumer. You're like, I don't know if I should ask this, but it's better safe to just ask in general versus, becoming a member there. Find out you don't like it. They've already pulled your credit. They've already opened up this account. Now you have to go to the hassle to actually canceling the account because you didn't ask those important questions prior to.
Right.
Yes,
Well,
Avery, you're
we
right. Do
got
you
we
believe
got
you get more personal service at a credit union?
we got Bree. Bree just came in. Hi, Bree. And Edward asked a question, and he
Hi,
says, "I
Bree.
yes," and Edward says, "I believe you get more personal service at credit unions." Do you agree with that, Don?
You do. I agree. The two I've only ever worked at. I'm sorry, my nose itching. I've only ever worked at two credit unions. One have been pretty like medium, and then the other one has been pretty small. And just coming up, I haven't been in loan lending the whole time. I was in member services, and that was a big thing for us, is providing service to our members in a timely fashion. To be courteous, to always thank them for their membership. If you see a problem, not to try to give it to the next person. Try to see that actual individual through. If you don't know something, don't just put them with information just to get them moving along. They want that individual as if that was your family member, like you want to have that connection. And so a lot of people go into credit initially don't really know how big customer service is really kind of honed in on their employees, only because they want you to be an extension of them. So professionalism is a big
I don't know
thing.
if it's
Being
just
able
me, Don, but I
to
think you're buffering. I think you're buffering for a second. I didn't really hear what you just said. If you could just repeat what you just said.
hear me now.
Yeah, I hear you now. Now you're good. Thank you. Can you repeat what you just said? Yeah, sure. Get you can come off and then come back, Dawn. So I'm just going to remove you for a second and then you can come back. Okay? Dawn's just going to remove herself and then she's going to come back on. So thanks everybody who's here. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Edward. I don't know who these people are. I don't know who that person is. And hey, Bree, how are you guys doing? Happy Thursday to you guys. Hope everybody's doing good. Thanks for coming today. And I agree as well, Edward. I think a lot of times credit unions, because I know I personally have been a part of the credit union, and I have found that credit union, I get a lot more personal service. Okay, let's hear now.
All right, am I back?
Yes, you're back. It's perfect now. Good.
Yay! Okay, that was my tablet. I was trying to be fancy and use my new tablet, and apparently the connection wasn't good.
Yeah.
So, what did you ask me? I couldn't hear you
Well, I
again.
was asking you because it started going in and out, so I don't know what you were just discussing.
Oh shoot!
Whatever you were just saying, I don't know what you were saying because it
What was
was
I
going
talking
in and out.
about? I'm trying to think because we were talking about okay, customer service and credit unions. I think I was
Yes.
piggybacking off what Edward was talking about with just having that personal experience. So I was saying that when I first started in the credit union industry, that was a big thing that they would let us know as employees that we should have established that customer relationship with each individual. So, like how I said, we don't look at our customers as traditional consumers. We look at them as memberships because we believe that they hold that stock in that actual credit union. So, meaning we treat each individual, regardless if they have $1 in their account or $250,000 in their account, with the same dignity and respect. And just treat them with because they're basically the reason why we have a job, and so we just have that certain respect for them. So that's like a big thing. They want you to be able to provide the best service possible. We have what is called I can't think of the word right now, like not guidelines, but like I don't because I don't know the exact word. I'm gonna say code of ethics when it comes to credit unions. So just across the board, there's a certain respect that when you tell someone that you work for a credit union, you're another credit union employee, that the conversation just immediately shifts over to like, what is something that basically your membership respect about you, like what do you provide your members that makes you special, like what are you doing to like keep up the engagement. And so each institution have their goals that they have each year. A lot of ours is community engagement. So meaning today I'm super tired. I have been with basically elementary children from the time of 7:30 up until 3:30 today. And so each year we provide services to inner city youth who may be disadvantaged so far as they may not be able to get gifts, or whether it's food wise, where like we have a chapter filled credit unions. They come together, we raise money, and then we go into the schools, provide services, whether it's just games, food. We give out prizes. So today it was more centered towards the holiday. And so basically we were able to service that school with pictures with Santa, if that was something that their parents allowed them to participate in, as well as having games and giving them prizes and giving them little goodie bags as they went to class, providing the teachers with lunch and just giving them a break, because that's a big job to be a teacher in today's age. It's not a
It is a
very
big one.
lucrative business. So anyone thinking, oh, if I become a teacher, it's just going to be so rewarding financially. And a lot of times it's not. It's really individuals really wanting to mold the young minds of our youth, and then not really even knowing how that impacts them in the long run, but just knowing that they are an extension to basically help molding your child. And so we wanted to just give back to them, even though it was like just like treats and just like a lunch. It may not just watching the kids, let them play inside the room. It's giving them that break and opportunity to kind of wind down, as well let them know that the credit unions are there for them for any type of services that they may want, for the kids to go back and let their parents know, because a lot of them are an inner city youth. A lot of people don't, they just think that banking is not just something normal that you would do, versus like just growing up. My grandmother, she didn't have a bank. That wasn't something normal. She believed everything you worked for, that was yours. If she did put money in there, she never did a loan. Out of all of her 76 years of living, it wasn't normal. Anyone that comes over as an immigrant, or who um who comes from the South, they believe you worked for what, like you didn't borrow money, like you earn it, and then maybe later down the line they would do business loans, but you're not personally getting loans to finance something. Like if you don't have it, then you don't need it. And so that was her mindset growing up. So it's crazy how now everything's shifted to where a lot of times there's people that help, that they may have not had a loan for 50 years of their life, and they just need to know how would it work, how does that process even go, as far as getting it started, what kind of information, why do we need to know how much money they make, why does it matter that they don't have credit. And so a lot of times when you have to tell someone, no, I can't assist you, it's giving them some type of way to resolve that, get some type of solution to help them in the long run. And so a lot of people offer other services. So if you don't have credit and you may need a small loan, before you allow them to pull your credit, ask them, do they offer an alternative loan for an individual who may not either have credit or have terrible credit. And a lot of credit unions do offer that for their members, especially if you've been a member there for a long time. You maybe have direct deposit coming in, you utilize the account, but you just haven't had a loan with them yet, or maybe have not had a loan in a long time, you don't want to get your credit pulled. They have those alternative loans, which I feel like almost every credit union have, but I may be wrong.
What is it called? An
It's
alternative
an
loan?
alternative loan. So it's basically a loan where they don't pull your credit. It's strictly based off of the relationship that you have within that account. So I mean, if you utilize the account, then they may be able to help you with an alternative loan that isn't based off of credit. So they wouldn't pull your credit to basically a decision to see if they wanted to allow you to borrow money from them. Normally, it's a smaller dollar amount. It's not big, but it's sometimes it's start off small. In order to get
Yeah.
those big loans, you have to start with a little, especially if you don't have no credit. So
Right.
this
Right.
is mainly
What I liked about my credit union is that, I never had any credit. So it's not that I had messed mine up, but I had never established any. And I find in banking, they give you these huge fees because of that,
mm-hmm.
thinking that maybe you had done wrong things. But I never, it's just, I come from the same thing like you. My parents, being immigrants, did not believe in banking. They were like, you get your money from the bank and you take everything out. Keep the money either in a shoebox or under your bed.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said that, because now it makes me so, in situations like that where you don't have no established credit, and then when you do go to a bank or you do try to finance, as an example, a car, they'll tell you, well, you don't have bad credit, but you don't have no credit. So they finance you with a higher interest rate to tell you, well, after a certain amount of time you can try to go and refinance it somewhere else, which is true. If you can't get traditionally apply somewhere else, like apply with the credit union, maybe you don't have no established credit, like no history with them, that you can get financed with a CarMax or with Capital One, and then try to refinance later on once you get some, what they call it, some lending
Yeah.
history. After a couple of months, normally 6 months to a year, they'll tell you to wait, then to go reapply to refinance to get a lower interest rate. The good thing about that with credit unions, even with someone with the worst of credit, if you get approved, we don't charge you no ridiculous high interest amount. So just as an example, we offer loans from, I had a guy, like I was telling you, who didn't have no established credit history. So it was hard for him to get a loan with the actual dealership. And then he was kind of annoyed that he was with us for so long, and we just told him we don't have no credit. We didn't tell you no, but now we give you something. So, okay, you don't have no credit. We see you do have money here. They may ask you to put down a down payment. So, meaning they may only finance up to a certain value of that vehicle and then require you to put almost like a down payment towards that loan in order to help you finance it. Or either sometimes we have individuals where we call it mitigating factors. So what can we do? What can we kind of, for our policy, may be able to look over something to see why we may be able to extend a loan to you. Maybe you've been there for a long time. Like Marlene said, you do all your business there. Your direct deposit comes, you utilize it. There's a healthy amount of balance in it. It may not be hundreds of thousands, but we can see that you do save your money. We may be able to offer, tell you yes, but you have to maybe put up some money or maybe do a shorter term for a loan just to see how you would do with for that particular loan. We offer a lot of credit unions offer what is called first time buyer programs, which I've seen across the board. I've been in 3 different states: Alabama, Texas, and Missouri, and each one of the institutions offers some type of first time buyers program, which allowed that individual to get a lower interest rate. It just means that they may be capped at a certain amount. It's your first time borrowing something. They may cap you at 20,000 to borrow, 30,000 to borrow, 40,000 to borrow, depending on the economic neighborhood that you're in, to kind of like figure out how much you're making. I know this sounds bad, but normally it depends on the area that you're in, that they're willing to risk a certain dollar amount and then just to get you this in the door if you don't have no established credit at all. So that's a really good thing about credit unions, where we found that just I don't want to say it's not sales driven, but because we do have goals, so don't ever think, oh, they just want to help us and they get nothing in return. It's not like a bank. We're not getting like a
Yeah.
huge percentage, but that individual may get a small incentive. So meaning maybe they get like a certain like a small dollar amount, or maybe a lot of different departments. The department I was in prior to coming to Texas, I didn't get any type of incentive for referring anyone, but I will always refer them for our loans, especially if we were like offering good rates, or maybe payments may not be due for 60 or 90 days. I would like let my family know, like, hey, we're offering these promotions coming up. Just letting you know, if you are thinking about refinances or getting a loan, you may want to wait. And we're not supposed to do that, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
work for a credit union or work for any type of financial institution, you want to let, like, that's your first contact. It's like, people to people. So you're going to tell your family and friends different things and promotions that may be coming up. And so that's like the good thing, just being able to have that background to where I can let people know, like, hey, a lot of my siblings, they're like, what do you think? Am I getting a good rate on this? Can you look up something? What can I do to better help my credit? And I'm still like, it's a constant thing. A lot of the when it comes to credit wise, so far as the score, that's going to be based off of longevity, the ratios, whether that's unsecured. It's not really based off of debt to income when it comes to the score. Maybe to a financial institution wanting to let you borrow against them. But I've heard someone told me that yesterday, where, oh, my debt to income is low. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with your actual score. If you're using a lot of those unsecured debts, they want to normally have you keep you under 30% in order to show that you're not living off of these funds
Yeah.
versus the amount that's coming in. So we can't see what you have, but if it's over a certain percentage, that's going to bring down the score. And so one of my friends, she was telling me, I was telling you should just try not to, if you want to pay something off, don't try to pay off that car yet, because the longer you have that collateral loan, the better. Because once people pay off these mortgages, they see that the score actually dropped only because it's such a large amount that's been reported for that time. Now you need a couple of months to read, like having something to report back on there in order for that to reflect good on the credit. And so
Right.
she had paid down a lot of her cards. And then I told her, then go on to the auto, because the card, normally your credit cards are going to have the highest interest rate, not your auto loan, not your
Right.
mortgage. Even though it's a large dollar amount, the impact is coming from those unsecured amounts. And her score immediately went up within like a couple of months. And she's like, I didn't even know. I was like, I'm just going to put like the minimum down on the credit card. I'm like, no, I don't use a credit card. A credit card shouldn't be a source of income. Is for a
Right.
means to assist if needed. And if you do have to use it, I tell people, I won't tell you not to use. You got the card for a reason. If you need it, just know once you allow that balance to go up, it may affect the credit. But I never want someone to think, oh, I can't use my card. If you're in a bind, You have to do what you have to do. But if you
Right.
can try not to use it, I wouldn't utilize it unless you know you can pay for it. So I got a card only for one main purpose is for gas. If I couldn't afford it, I wasn't trying to get it. When I first started off out of college, they didn't want to give me a credit card. Capital One was the only institution I knew of, and if I would have known about credit unions at that time, like how I know now, I would have probably
Right.
went to a credit union because the interest rate is significant. I think in my first year of college, the interest rate was like 7%.
I think it's muted. Is it? No, I don't hear anything. It's muted again. Try to press it again. Nope, I don't hear anything. Try to do the same thing again. Go out and come back. Let me remove you. She'll be right back. So I try to do the same thing, guys. I try to when because I'm with the credit union as well, and I have found that it's really good to um with the credit union, especially if you sign up during certain times during the year with the credit union, they allow you to have like a sign on bonus. I know when I started with my credit union, they gave a $300 to come and sign up with the company. So that's the reason why I like the credit union because they give you like sign on bonuses like $100, $200 if you join the credit union, or if one person joins, they give you like $50 for every person. So it's some of the things that maybe some banks don't do that I like about the credit union.
Am I back? Can you
Yes,
hear
you're
me?
back.
Okay. I got the tail end of that, and I do agree. We also do the same thing. A lot of credit unions offer those promotions, basically trying to getting members to do what is called members referrals, and that's a good thing. A lot of the times you get like they give you Visa cards, maybe cash an account. If you refinance your car, they'll give you a certain cash dollar amount depending on the value of that loan. So maybe it can range from like 100 to 500 depending on the dollar. And so a lot of times people will just refinance a house or a vehicle just because they want to get the sign on like their
Yes,
promotion. Like, okay, well, good. I may not get the lowest interest rate, but I could use this amount of money.
yes,
And so I think that's interesting that sometimes people would just only we've had in members who, even though they may get the same rate at the dealership or maybe getting a maybe a higher interest rate because they like to do business with the institution and there's a certain trust with the credit union, they will come to us versus having to deal with a whole nother institution like Capital
right,
One or Ally Finance. And that's only because it's so hard to get in touch with someone. If something is wrong, you have to go through all these channels.
exactly.
There's no type of accountability. And honestly, I would never, like, I'm going to say never, not unless I got into a bind and I couldn't go to a credit union. I would never think about going to go to like a big financial institution to get a loan, not unless I need it for maybe on a larger scale. I want like a big business, but hopefully I have capital and I would have
Right,
investors. That would be the way I would want to do it. But that's like the good thing about the credit union that people it's like the relationship that we build with the members that makes it such an enjoyable thing for them because they know I've created they would call it enable. Like I'm an enabler with a lot of my members. They're like, Don, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, well, they're older and I can understand the frustration of having to deal with someone differently every time. And they already know. I have people that call me. I don't even work in certain departments no more. Like, hey, Don, can you help me with this? And I'm like, I will see what I can do. If I can assist you, I'm going to get you to the right department. But I'll help you to my best ability until I
right,
can any longer. And then if I need to transfer you, I'm going to explain to them how you like to be handled and what, because we have people that may have a speech impediment, they may have a stroke, or maybe just emotionally going through stuff, and sometimes they create that bond with you, and you never want to dishonor that trust because that they just come out with an article where there was I don't know if it's in Georgia or like one of those southern states where a couple basically frauded and killed one of the customers. I don't know if you've seen them, Marlene, but
Oh
I
no,
recently
I have not
it was
seen
the
that.
I'm like, who wherever this basically this older man, he would if this young lady went change banks, he would follow her because she knew how he liked him, how he liked his transactions. He was an older fellow, he had a lot of money, so he would take this large amount to different institutions as she transferred as a teller to different institutions. And so then so when the I guess the last bank she went to, her and her boyfriend conspired on how to basically kill, like get his money and then kill him all, like basically like
Yeah,
get all this money from this man's account, then him getting caught. And I'm like, that's the crazy thing, because you want to have trust in your financial institution, but not that much trust. I don't want someone to
yeah,
blindly follow me and to do
yeah.
so.
That's
That's why I'm
too much.
constantly making notes. I let them know this is as far as I can go. I'm not doing anything illegal. Don't give
Right.
me no money, especially with the crazy. We can't take money, and if we can't take like money from an account to us. We are allowed to get gift cards, and if they do give us a card with money, we can only accept it up to a certain dollar amount. You can't like,
Okay.
and I know people who have taken, like, if someone gave them hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, y'all not supposed to do that. And if you don't, like, for me, I'm like, look, you know what? If I see it, I'm just letting them know, like, hey, they had this old man been coming in giving this girl money. This is not
Yeah.
happening in Texas, but I have seen.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you shouldn't be doing it. But
Yeah.
I've had gifts given to me, like gift cards, like Panera, $5, $10. You know, I'm very much appreciative. I'm like, they know that it's not like a transaction to do something. What I'm gonna do with $5 and $10, you know,
Right.
other
Exactly.
than get a drink and some lunch. So
Oh, we have a question here, Don. Over plus size says, what about people who don't have a relationship with the bank? How long does it take? Hold on, it just disappeared. How long does it take to build a relationship with the bank before you seek out loans or other things?
I would say if you are an individual who don't have any relationship with the credit union at all, that a lot of times it's more like, what is the end goal? So if you're wanting to get an auto loan, a signature loan, which is that unsecured amount that we were talking about earlier, that sometimes you may want to open up an account, establish direct deposit with them. See first, like I was saying before, do they offer products and services that you would see that would benefit you? So you want to make sure that online banking you like, because you don't want to get stuck somewhere. You're like, I don't like nothing product wise they have. Like, they're not up to date. You can't do direct deposit through their company. It's hard to get someone on the phone. There's bad reviews on them. Now you look after the fact and you've already transferred your direct deposit to them. So I would always, if you're wanting to establish some type of lending services with them, if you can't afford to get a refinance, I mean, your credit may not be as good for that. We always advise our members, if they can, do what is called secured loan. So meaning they can do a secured credit card using their funds as collateral to do that unsecured amount for that secured amount. I'm sorry, or either do a share secured, meaning they put funds on hold in the savings account and then pay that loan back for a significant amount of times. It really just differs because each person have their own little watermark of their credit. A credit is almost like a report on how you basically bank. So for someone who don't have credit, it's almost like I can help you a lot because you don't have there's
Yeah.
no collections, charge offs. You're basically wanting to stamp your watermark just like your first loan on the account. We can just do a secured card that's going to help you after a certain amount of time, maybe 6 months or a couple of months doing that. And even for someone who don't have credit, we can still offer them a loan for an auto. It just means they may have to have a larger dollar amount. So a lot of
Right.
times, because credit unions don't go strictly based off a credit report, we look at a lot of stuff so far as how long have this person been working at their job. Um, Maybe they do have collections. What are the reason for those what's high? Are there medical bills? Are there loans where it's been like a judgment because they put judgments on your credit? Are there have it been repossessions? Because a lot of times credit unions kind of frowned upon repossessions recently, the large dollar amounts that you haven't taken care of. If there's a loss to another credit union, they almost don't want to do business with you, because now it's like we know how we extend
Yeah.
for our members. If you are not willing to pay this individual back. Why would we want to lend out to you? And we're a small
Right.
institution as well. So you're a risk to say you can easily not pay us or put us on bankruptcy once you decide that I can't pay it no more. Because we have people who may go into bankruptcy, but because they know they don't want to mess up the relationship with the credit union, they'll continue to pay us and may modify the loans because they
Right.
want to still have that established relationship once they even get out of bankruptcy. So then once they're out, we see they've still been paying us, we can extend the loan to them up to a certain, just depending on how much they make, up to a certain
Right.
amount. So it just really depends on like what's on your credit. It's hard to say how long you have to be there. It just really depends. If
Exactly.
you have no credit, then I can just say get a security card after a certain period of time, maybe 6 months to a year. You may be able to ask for an unsecured amount depending on how long you've been working. If you are an individual who has issues on the credit, so far as charge offs and collections, then my first question would be to do is to try to figure out what can you do to settle some of those amounts or get those removed. Because honestly, if it's messed up to that point, then not unless you already have an established relationship, then it's hard for a credit union to kind of say, okay, we're going to look past all these collections or all these
Right.
loans that you haven't paid or haven't paid on time to give you a loan with us, even though you've been with us for maybe 4 years and you've never had nothing. So sometimes we may go out our way for someone who's had loans within the past, maybe had a rough patch. They can explain it. We see that they're trying to pay those off because we're able to see within the account that they have been making payments to these companies, where we may try to find a way to still assist them. Those
Right.
members are dealt with a little bit differently. We still have policy and guidelines. Of course, we're never going to go over that to an extent to where it's illegal, but there may be sometimes where someone in higher power may be able to assist that member a little bit differently than someone who's just a loan officer or just someone in member services so far as it counts. When it comes to fraud, it's almost like one of the things where you need to get taken care of because no one doesn't want to deal with anyone that has any type of fraudulent activity when it comes to financial institutions
Right.
so far as like bank deposit frauds, or if it's them writing bad checks or having issues where they're thinking they're trying to what is it called? Not loader money. What is it called? Traffic. I don't think it's called. I think it's called traffic. I don't know. Where you trying to launder money, some
Yeah.
launder,
Money
launder
laundering.
money. So those is like you try to stay away from those situations. But it really just
Yeah.
depends on each person because I don't want to say you have to have a certain credit score. It is really
Right.
what's on there. And sometimes you may just want to go in there and see, have them pull your credit and see what they would advise you to do. Because sometimes because you don't know, you kind of don't know where to go from. You want to get advisement from some type of financial analyst or someone that can do some type of literacy with you to help you fix it. So that when
Right.
you do go to the do decide to start to do a loan or an account, you kind of have some leverage to know what you've been
Yeah.
working on it, and they're willing to probably extend a loan or extend an account to you. I would never do online banking. I want to be able to
Be able
go in
to.
and talk to someone face to face. See, and that's what Eric saying. Remember, I was telling you about having that tangible
Mhm.
building. Some
Yes, I
people
like that.
need that in person interaction. They want to see
See,
your
and I
face
do
when you're looking
both,
at the
Dawn.
screen.
I do both. I do
They want
online
to see it.
banking and I do the credit union because there's some things that I like about the online banking. Online banking, usually I can use my card anywhere in the world without fees. So
Mm-hmm.
I keep that for when I travel only, my online banking. But the other one, no, I say I got to go in my credit union.
See, and
Mhm.
it's people like that where I feel like it's not a bad thing, and that's why you want to you want to do the research to make sure they have a lot of areas or at least have what they like we were talking about with Marlene, have shared branching, meaning where it may not be in that same city or that county, but they'll still be able to access your account if you need it. What about self-employed? So far as income, that's fine too. So we have people who are self-employed for a very like a long period of time, as long as you can provide taxes that verify what profits you have for that year. So normally they may want to verify 2 to 3 years of your taxes to verify that you are getting that income that you say you get in. So the only time it really hurts is if you're someone who writes off everything, like your main goal
Okay.
is then at the end of the year it shows you've made, $10, 500. It's like, well, we know you didn't make $500, but a lot
Yeah.
of times that only really benefits individuals making hundreds of thousands when it comes to them wanting to go to the banks, because each institution policies are different when it comes to taxes. They may review the taxes differently for mortgages. They may review it differently for consumer lending. For my experience, I can speak for that. For consumer lending, they're really big on how much profit you've made, especially if you're someone that's saying I made $100,000 this year, and then we can only see that you've only counted in 20,000 of that amount. That may lower the chances of you being able to get that. You want to get $50,000 auto loan, but from your finances, it shows that you write off a lot of stuff. So there's no way that we would feel comfortable with lending you that amount of money when it's already 2 times your gross income that you've reported. So it would just depends
Yeah.
on how you do your taxes and what you write off. I would say for the self-employment part.
Right. So, you were saying you're in consumer lending. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what is it, and how others can use it?
So consumer lending is normally loans for signature, which is the personal loans, unsecured amounts, whether that's a credit card, personal. I'm trying to think of something that would fall in this unsecured. It's those two, auto loans, and any type of shared secured accounts. And then you have real estate, which is mortgages. So primarily the type of loans I deal with is mostly personal loans for autos, unsecured. That's probably the best way for. So basically, I do auto and unsecured personal loans strictly. And so sometimes they have different departments depending on how big a bank or a credit union may be. But my old credit union I worked with, we did a little bit of both. We did the consumer and mortgages. The credit union I work for now, I just do strictly consumer lending, whether it's for that whether it's either auto or personal. I don't know too much about mortgages, so I never advise on it. I'm still trying to learn how that process works. It's different from each institution, whether like the policy wise. So it's almost whenever I'm learning, I'm like, well, this is a little bit different from my other credit union. Like, well, it just really depends on the policy on. So I just know like personal loans and auto loans. So consumer lending are those type of loans strictly that I would personally work with. And it also can be, because then you have business loans. That's a whole different
Yeah, that's
type
what
of
I was
loans.
just gonna
And
ask.
business loans are different. I haven't done any business loans. I had people inquire, and because I told you, both of the credit unions I worked for weren't SBA approved, we didn't have a lot of business accounts or loans. So I don't really know that portion on how that will work. I
Hmm.
do know, I don't know if she's still on here, Bree has a lot of experience with mortgages and lenders. So hopefully one day she can come
Yeah.
over here with Marlene and kind of give her background and what she's been advised by each lending institution on how things should be set up. But I can't speak on that, but
Right.
that's what I
Can
do.
you talk a
Consumer.
little bit about do you deal with you said secure loans, so does that include secured credit cards?
Correct. So we secured loans. Anything secured is anything with collateral. Collateral meaning cash or an actual vehicle, or what is it called? So collateral, we can do collateral on boats. I do boats,
Oh,
trailers, horse trailers, RVs, motorhomes, your sports car, your pickup. Those would be collateral loans. And each bank or even credit union, they may have different policies for how much they may offer on those type of loans. But from our credit union, it's pretty much the value. As long as it has value, then we can pretty much do a loan for it. When it comes to the secured loans, we offer what is for you can secure funds from a CD, from a shared deposit. You can secure funds from your savings account, checking account, and put them on hold. And basically, they're borrowing against your funds. We don't put, like, they normally shouldn't pull credit, not unless it warrants them to pull credit. So either you do something that's fishy, but for the most time, they don't really pull credit for those type of loans. And basically, those rates are normally it's normally the percentage over the deposit interest. And so they're normally lower than your traditional unsecured or collateral loan with a vehicle. So we're not pulling any credit. You're borrowing against yourself. So of course, the credit union is going to get a certain percentage because you're paying their interest. But a lot of times they don't charge early penalties for you paying it off early. So if you borrow against yourself, you're pretty much saving the money. You're paying every time you make those payments on the loan, it basically releases the funds in your savings or either your CD if you have a CD that you're using to hold that collateral for the loan. And so
Okay.
with actual credit cards, they normally it's a small percentage that they do for those as well. It's normally a minimum amount that you have to do. I think this varies from either 200 and then up to the amount that you want to do the secured credit card for. And then basically they don't. Some people are there's a misconception of after I have the credit card for 2 or 3 years, they're going to switch it over to unsecured. When you do it at a credit union, we don't involuntarily pull your credit. So it wouldn't be the same as if you were with Capital One. If you want an unsecured card, at that point you would have to do an application to switch that card from secured to unsecured to where we're releasing those funds in the savings or wherever you have the funds holding to do that card.
Okay. Edward says 401k.
401k. I don't know. I
Yeah,
am
we
not
haven't.
experienced in 401k. I'm still trying to figure that other part out. When I before we did a lot of IRAs. So IRAs is kind of like the sister of a 401k because those I from what I can remember, I feel like those are the funds. When I transitioned from one institution to another, they gave me the opportunity to either get that check to transfer into IRA from a 401k, and then that amount they had put on hold in that account that I had. But other than that, I don't know how I get
Yeah.
training we do like these little trainings. I get a small training of it, and you know how you just go through a training and you don't see it for like a whole year. That's the
Yes.
extent that I know. It's like,
Yes.
oh, I've seen information. We don't do 401ks. We do the IRAs, which is like the sister of a 401k. Normally, a 401k is offered through your job. And so IRA is something that you're doing personally to save money for the future, which you can't pull out without penalties until after the age of 65. That's how much I know about the IRAs.
Well,
Normally, a credit
that's a
union
lot. You know
normally a
something.
credit union wouldn't do a 401k. So let's say you have a 401k somewhere. I would say call the credit union, ask what their rates are for the IRAs. But you can always transfer your funds from the 401k to the IRA. So a credit union shouldn't have a 401k. They have IRAs. They have the Roth and traditional. So those would be your options when it comes to the IRAs. And I think they have something that's called start with a C. I can't think of the name. It's like it's basically an IRA for children, and I can't think of
Yeah,
the name right now.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of
It's
it.
kind of like I guess what parents would do if after a certain age. It's almost like a trust, but it's not a trust account. Where after
Yeah.
they get like 21, they can pull from it without any penalties if they're using it from college. I can't think of
Mhm.
the word, but I know it's
Yeah, I know
another
what you're
type of
talking
IRA.
about because I had one. I can't think of it, but and mine wasn't 21. Mine was 18. After 18, I could have access to the funds.
Okay, that may
Hmm.
be right.
Yes, that's what happened to me. So can you tell me, because this is information is for me right now. I just started getting my credit score together. I'm working on being debt free. And right now, I just got approved for a secured card for $500, and I just did that, and it's on the way to me. Is there anything else that I could do to help improve my credit score? Because I feel like I'm doing everything that I need to do. Like I'm paying my things on time. I'm paying off debt. Like I've removed things that's on my credit report that
Hmm.
was like bad before. So I feel like I'm doing anything, but is there any advice that you could give on how people can improve, like, so that like when I go to maybe buy a car or you go to get a loan or a mortgage or something, it my score will be improved. Is there anything you would like to share?
Now, regarding the secured card, is probably the best part you could have done because what you want is a variety of different trade lines. Trade lines are secured cards. Collateral loans, meaning auto, whether it's an unsecured signature, mortgage. Maybe you get a secured card, see about getting another card unsecured. You may have to, it just depends what's on there. Maybe someone is willing to give you an unsecured card for a small amount so that way you can have a variety of things reporting and then
Okay.
showing that you're actually paying them off. There's usage, but you're keeping the balance low. You can
Yeah.
do that secured option I was telling you about where it's not a secured card, but it's a secured loan. those amounts can be, I think, as low as 300. So you don't have to do like necessarily five. And then that way, have that for probably about a year, pay it off. Maybe at another secured amount, have that paid off. Normally, with a mortgage, they would want you to be over. I think it's either the ranges from 640 to 680 for the lowest. And of course, you want to be a little bit higher than that to get a good rate for a mortgage. You want at least to be in 720, 740 to get those rates, the lowest
Oh
rates that they
man,
have
I
possible.
gotta I gotta
But
look.
at least the 620 ish. Each credit union or bank have their different like that minimum amount. I think ours is like 620. They want you to be in order to do that mortgage loan. But you kind of want to know how they do their underwriting. Like, what
Right.
do I need to have? Like, there's something you would want to ask that credit union because each place is different. Ours, we always refer our members to get a secured card or a secured loan to start off with. A lot of people don't want to get an auto, like they don't want to get an auto loan. That's fine. Then try to get secured amounts, pay those off, and then get another amount again. It don't have to be like a large amount, but you want to establish that length of credit. So you kind of
Yeah.
want to extend out that secured amount if you can, 6 months to a year.
Yeah,
Then get
I
another
think
secured amount.
when I looked at the fine print, it said that they want me to keep it for 18 months
So for the credit card.
for the unsecured one.
Oh, okay. So in order for them to switch it over, so that makes sense. So each, I think ours is like 6 to 12. Each institution have their amounts that they would want their credit, like their member, to have it for to see how they actually pay it. Do they allow the card to go to the highest limit? Do they keep it under 30%? Do they
Yeah.
pay it on time? Is there any issues with it? And then, like how you said, you've already worked on those items that's on your credit and
Mhm.
either you disputed it or you just settled it off if it's been like collections. Normally, when it comes to medical bills, I believe they're on there for 3 to 7 years. One of those, they just changed it because at first he stayed across the board 7 to 10 years, and I used to
Right.
get mad like, why would you want something negative on your credit for 7 to 10 years? When
Yeah.
I first started off, my credit score was like at a five something, and only because when I got out of school, I got one of those credit cards from Walmart. I didn't have a job. I wasn't paying it. I had a credit card for $100 become a $450 collections that they put in.
Wow.
And my dad was livid. He was like, why would you get a card and then you don't pay it and you don't tell me until they're trying to call and it's going to collections? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, they made it sound so good. I was in college. I needed some groceries. I needed some treats. The girls were with me. And he was like, yeah, figure that out. He's like, give me the amount that they need to pay it off and we can get it paid. So I settled it off with Walmart. I didn't pay that full amount, but they allowed me to do a lower amount, which is a settlement where it's like they're trying to recuperate anything back from the losses that they had. Which technically, they didn't really lose much because I only spent $100 and they got probably $350 from me.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. But as far as like reestablishing, it just took a lot of like how you said, me getting that first credit card. I've never had an auto loan, so anyone that said you have to have an auto loan in order for your score to grow, I've only had unsecured and credit cards for me, and then my score has been in the 700s. Now I do
Okay.
plan on getting the auto. I've been approved multiple times, but I never follow through. I'm like, it's such a big purchase to do a house or
Yes.
auto. I'm like, you have to have it for so long. It's like yours,
Yes,
and they don't really
I'm
tell
still
you.
old school, Dawn. Just like my mom and my dad. I just like to have how much does it cost and just
Mm-hmm.
and put down my 50% and then get it and then be with the credit union and then when I in 6 months just pay it all off. So that's how I like to do it. I try not to be
Have no
indebted to
debt.
anybody. Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing not to have, as long as like you're like how you said, getting those little loans here and there. If you know that you just don't want to have like those large amounts until you're ready to make like a big purchase, to do the secured credit card, do a secured loan, because I would say definitely the secured loan if you're not wanting to do an auto loan, because the way that it
Okay.
reports is good to have that variety. So the secured credit card is going to report it's a credit card. It doesn't report like you can see that it may be secure, but it's a different trade versus a secured, like a loan that you have is going to pop up as secured. Either it can be collateral. They don't know, like they rarely report. They just know you have a secured loan. They don't know what type of loan. It could be an auto, it can be a boat,
Okay.
but you want to have a variety being reported for at least like how they said 12 to 18 months. We at minimum, because a lot of people don't want to have something. I just have it for 6 months and then come back to us again, because there's some people that don't. They just get secured loans every year just to have it until they're ready to get a big purchase. Where we had a lot
Okay.
of members and they just know you don't want to go years and years without having nothing reporting, because then maybe 10 years from now you had no cards, you decided to cancel everything because you wasn't using it. That's going to hurt you in a time where you need to borrow something again, because now it looks like you've never had any history. Even though you say, oh, I've had a loan with you 20 years ago and we had no problems, that was a different time. Even though I can
Yeah.
probably see if I had to try to go through the records, but they don't keep that information no longer. Like legally, a bank doesn't have to keep that information to after 7 years. You have up to that amount to dispute it. So
Okay.
you can't come back and say, 5 years ago I had something with you guys and I can't see that information. It's not gonna be helpful. Hold on, I'm having a little
Right.
cough.
Sure. Yeah. So that's the same thing that I did. I thought it was best for me. Like I wasn't doing good. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't paying off my debts and stuff. So I had some stuff go into what is it called? Charge offs. So
Uh-huh.
that really hurt me a lot. So I got all that fixed, got that removed. I'm working on being debt free. I finally got a secured credit card, and I'm going to see if I can get my first unsecured, because they said mine is not good and my credit is not good and my credit is not bad. Like I'm right on the middle. I think
Mm-hmm.
he told me 615. So, and not bad, but I'm not good either. So I'm trying to have some variety to thicken my credit file.
Now with that, this is with your credit union.
Yes.
I feel like that's a difference. Each institution is kind of different. So the way I lend, I mean, they can stop me if I'm doing it wrong. I don't really focus more on the score. The score is going to show how you've paid different stuff. But a lot of times, if I can see like you've been working this whole time, you've been with your company for 10 years, you have a nice, healthy amount coming in, I may want to lend a large amount to you unsecured, even though you've never maybe had it, but I see you've had the income. It may not be the amount that you want. I can counter you for a smaller amount if I can see it's there. It's, for me, I feel like it's just different. I may lean, they always think, no, you shouldn't be. I'm like, well, we're supposed to be able to help. I can see that
Right.
they've been making, strides to get their credit together. I can
Yeah.
see that there's the collections items been paid off. But if someone has a healthy income, even though the score may be lower, I still may be able to, within lending limits and policies, technically be able to help that person if there's other things that they kind of fall under. If the score is low, I mean, I'll look at that, what's being reported. If it's collections for medical, I don't really, those are items that you can't control you getting sick. You can't
Yeah.
control an emergency room visit. So that I don't look at. If it's where collections like a credit card, how much was the card for? How long was it ago? Since then, have you made arrangements? Maybe I won't
Yeah.
give you that 5,000, but maybe we can do something a little bit lower to start to reestablish it unsecured wise. And then if hopefully you pay back, that
Yes.
would be how I do. But I mean, it's different. They probably like, okay,
Yeah.
Marlene, we're gonna let you do the secured first,
Well, that's what
and
they
then we're
told
gonna
me,
rotate you
because
to
they said they
unsecured.
did say when they pulled it up, they did say, "Oh, we saw you just settled that." So that's the only reason why they tried to
Allow you to do the
allow me to do that.
okay, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
But they know more. They can see what's going on with the credit than I can. Because sometimes we'll try to sugarcoat stuff so that way it can land a little bit differently. That's why I said instead of always saying no, have a have a resolution of what they can possibly do. Okay, we may not be able to do a $2,000 credit card or $5,000 credit card. Maybe we should start with a secured card for a certain point in time, and then go into the unsecured if you make the payments and if nothing new pops up on the credit, you've made those arrangements to get some of those collections off.
Yeah.
But it really
That's
depends.
what they told me. They said because I only have about 9 months left and I'm going to be completely debt free. So they told me even though I need to keep my secured card for 18 months, they said once I'm completely debt free, they said now we're not going to even worry about that. We're going to go and give you a bigger loan. So one
That's
year, 1 year.
That's a good feeling. I
Change.
think you've been
Yes.
doing good if they, and then you're more appreciative that they're helping you on that front versus just saying, "Oh no, we can't help you," and then don't tell you what to do. Initially, someone could just say, "Okay, I don't. If I can get them alone, I'm gonna just keep going." And that's what banks is like. Okay, you don't have the credit score. We just keep going. The amount that you're requesting,
Yeah.
it's not gonna benefit us.
That's what happened to me. They was like, we're not saying no, but we can't do that because I had won $10,000, and they're like, no, we can't do that. But they countered me a different amount. So, so that was good. It was like, we can't give you this, but we can give you this. So it was like yes and no.
Yeah. So once you pay it off and they see you paid them,
Yeah,
then
they
the
told
door
me.
just open
They
for
said
other
come back in 6
opportunities.
months.
She said, "I'm
That's,
waiting."
she was like when her manager said, hey, come back in 6 months.
Come
Yeah.
see me. And then you try to find
See
that
me.
person, like, where's my girl? Where's my person? She was helping me last time. See, I did everything you told me to do.
Yeah.
So that's always a good feeling.
Yeah, it does. That's what I would say is different for credit union. Like they know you by name, they know your family.
Mm-hmm.
It's more personal. Like in a bank, it's just like you're whoever. They don't
Right.
even know you. So yeah. So I enjoyed it. You have anything that you wanna end with?
I do. It may not be as wise as Marlene always share with her people, but other than I would say for everyone who is currently with a bank, I would strongly advise you to look up your local credit union, do the research, become a member, establish that relationship, and I would guarantee that it's probably gonna be one of the best decisions you've ever made if you feel like it works within your lifestyle. And if you have any questions regarding not saying lending, regarding credit unions, you can feel free to DM me, or I was just say do the research, and I feel like that would really benefit you. And that's all I have.
Well, that's a lot, Don. That's a lot. So, I really appreciate everything that you shared with my viewers, all my people, my Marlene TV family. I know you guys enjoyed it just like I did because I got a lot in my memory bank. I'm about to watch this back and get on my notes about some of the things that you recommended for me as well. So, I really appreciate it. And another day, I want you to come back so we can talk about some natural hair stuff.
Woo!
Yeah. You get into this haircut.
Yes, I would love to come back.
Yeah, but it's not going to be no long 1 hour. We may just do like a talk and discussion for like 10 minutes.
Okay. I don't know
Yeah.
how we got to the hour. We got here though.
We got here though. So I thank everybody for watching. I have linked Dawn's channel in the comment section below, and it's going to be put in the video when it uploads. I'm going to link her channel and put it in the description box. So I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Yes. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Stay right there for 1 minute, Dawn, okay? Bye, guys.